We're going to start now with the customization of our template, and we're going to start with the header, including the navbar. So we're going to apply what we've learned about CSS Bootstrap in order to have this result. We're going to start with the navbar, then we're going to move on to the header with this content and this image that we're going to style. And we're going to frequently make quick references to the Bootstrap documentation in order to collect the information about the CSS and the components that we're going to need for our design. We're going to begin by adding some style to this navbar. And we're going to go to our source code to find the element for the navbar. So that starts here. So here we have the opening tag for the navbar. And in order to get the style that we're going to need, we're going to go to the Bootstrap components page, and we're going to go to the navbar section. What we want to do is to fix this navbar to the top. So we're going to go to Fixed to Top. And here we're going to use the class in order to fix the navbar to the top. So we're going to grab navbar fixed top. Back to our source code, we're going to place this new class right after navbar default. Let's see now. So now we can see that our navbar is now fixed to the top. Perfect. Now we want to change the look of this navbar. So for that, we're going to go to another section, still under navbar, and that's going to be inverted navbar. And we're going to grab this class, which is navbar inverse. Back in our code editor, we're going to place this class right after fixed to top. Finally, we're going to see the result, and here it is. Now we have a new look for our navbar. Perfect. Let's continue. So this time we're going to take care of the header. So what we would like to do is to add some definition to the header, just like this final design. So we have a nice light gray background. And in order to create that, we need one element from CSS Bootstrap. So again, we're going to refer to the documentation in Bootstrap, and we're going to go to the Jumbotron section. Here we just found the class that we need, so Jumbotron, in order to showcase key content on a page. So for that, we're going to find the corresponding div, and here it is. So this is the div that we want to change to a Jumbotron. So next to the ID header, we're going to add the class Jumbotron. Here it is. So now we're going to save, go back to our template, then reload, and here it is. Now we have a nice light gray background, which is applied to the header section. There are a few other things to do in order to make this header look good. And the first thing is that we're going to need to move this image on the right and place the content on the left. A bit similar to this. So you're going to see that the process is very easy. What we need to do is to float this image to the right. So for that, we're going to go back to the Bootstrap documentation and find the reference to Insight CSS. We're going to look for quick floats, which can be found under helper classes. Here we have two options, pull left and pull right. So we're going to copy pull right. The goal here is to apply the class of pull right on this image in order to make it float to the right. And here is the corresponding image element. So we're going to add the class inside. We're going to save, then go back to our template. Here it is. So just what we were expecting. So now we have the image, which is nicely floated to the right next to the content. Nice. We can also add some styling to this image to add some definition. So for that, we're going to go under CSS to Images. We're going to look for the image shape options. Here we have the choice between thumbnail and circle. So we're going to grab image thumbnail first and add it to our image element right after pull right in our source code. We're going to save. Back to our page, we're going to reload, and here it is, perfect. So now we have a nice border around our image. Back to our source code, we're going to change this class from thumbnail to circle. After saving, we're going to go back to the template and then reload again. Good, so now we have a nice oval shape. Let's move on now to the text, the two paragraphs that we have on this design. So we're going to make this paragraph look bold. For now, on our template, we have no style, so we're going to use a class for this first template, and for that, we're going to go back to CSS, to the CSS page. We're going to go under typography and look for emphasis. In order to make a text bold, to emphasize the text, we're going to use the strong tags, like this one, this example. So what we're going to do is insert the strong tags inside the P element, which is a block element. Okay, and now back to our design. We have now a nice first paragraph in bold. Moving on to the second paragraph, so what we want to do is to create a block quote. On the Bootstrap side, so still under typography, you're going to find the block quote section. And in order to create a block quote, like something that was said, you're going to use the block quote element. Back to our source code, we're going to wrap the second paragraph, so inside the block quote elements. We're going to indent this paragraph as well, just to keep things clean. Here we go. And now back to our design, we have a nice block quote, which is slightly indented compared to the rest of the content. The block quote normally comes with a nice left border, as you can see on the final design, but because it has the same color of the background, it's not visible. But we can certainly change that by changing the original color from this light gray to something darker. In order to figure out what elements we need to target in our web page, we can use the Inspector tool by doing right-click and go all the way down to Inspect tool. And here we're going to find the element block quote. You're going to select it. And on the right, you're going to find all the CSS rules that are related to the block quote. And what we need to use is the border left. So we're going to copy everything. And we're going to paste it in the custom style of our HTML page. So here is the custom styles for this template. And we're going to add these new CSS rules right under the body tag, right here for the block quote. We're only going to keep the last line for the border left. We don't need the three first lines, so we're going to cut that. Finally, we're going to change the color by adding a much darker gray. And we're going to check out now the result by reloading the page. Here we go. So now we have a nice gray border added to the left. So that looks much nicer. Back to the custom styles on our page, our document HTML. So you probably know that this is best practice to use an external file instead of placing that in the head section. So what we're going to do is copy all of this and paste it to our new document. For this purpose, we already have one file ready, and this one is custom.css inside the CSS folder, where we're going to paste our CSS styles. Then back to our HTML page, what's left to do is to link to this new custom.css file. First, we're going to remove this section style that we don't need, and instead we're going to create a new link by adding CSS for the CSS folder, and then we're going to write custom.css. And this line, so linking to our custom style, needs to be placed last in order to override the CSS rules of Bootstrap. This is the principle of cascading style sheets, so meaning that everything which is placed last after the Bootstrap, will take precedent. Back to our design, there is a few things that we need to add in order to complete it, so we're going to check out the final design. So here we can see that we have an author, And back to the Bootstrap documentation, we can read that this is possible to identify the source of a quote by adding a footer inside the block quote. So that's exactly what we're going to do inside the block quote. We're going to add a footer tag, and I'm going to add some text by author for this example. Let's check out the result now. So by reloading the page, so now we can see that we have a nice reference to the author. That looks nice. Next, what we want to do is to style the button in order to make it more prominent, more visible, in order to create a call to action. And for that, we have a few styles that are available with Bootstrap. So first, what I'm going to do is add to the anchor tag the type. This is the type attribute, and I'm going to write button. Next, I'm going to add the class, and I'm going to start by the base class, which is btn. And in order to style my button, I'm going to check out the documentation of Bootstrap to see the different variations. Here they are. So, and for our template, we're going to pick success. So for that, we're going to need to copy the class btn-success. And we're going to add this one right after btn. So then we're going to save. Also, we're going to change the size of this button from default to large. And for that, we're going to use the class of btn-lg for large. And we're going to add this class so right after btn success. Here we go. And back to our design, we're going to reload the page and check out the result. Perfect, so now we have a nice big button with a nice green background color. On this design, the button is placed in the center, so we're going to do the same. First, we need to find the different styles options for the alignment, and we can find them under typography. Here they are, so alignment classes, and we're going to use text center. Let's reload the page now. So perfect, and now we have our button, which is placed right in the center. That looks good. One final touch, we notice that on the final design, the button has a nice gradient, compared to our button, which only has a flat color. We've mentioned before that in the Bootstrap package, there is an additional file which is optional for you to use. And this file is named Bootstrap theme. So we're going to remove the comments sign. So in order to make it active, we had initially commented out. And the CSS rules included in this file allows to add 3D effects to buttons and other elements on your Bootstrap template. Let's see the result. So here it is. So now we have our button with a nice 3D effect. Perfect.